OMG, you guys, we are actually recording an episode of TessTalks. Remember that old podcast that we all used to like hang around and listen to, maybe with our friends? It has been so long since I recorded a podcast, and a lot has happened since the last one. I've gotten a TV gig. I am like almost a year into that contract. So it's just been so long. And I finally am going to have some downtime to take some time for me this coming up week. But I'm actually doing something that I have wanted since the beginning of this year. Well, actually for longer, but it was at the beginning of this year where I said, this is the year I do it, and I'm going to get it done. So here to talk with me about that procedure is, who else? Dr. Bartlett, Erica Bartlett. Yes. She is someone who I've actually formed a really cool friendship with.
I know.
Thanks for hanging out.
A couple years now. Absolutely.
Girl, okay, the fact that we're sitting down to do a podcast makes me very happy, because we said we should, and you said there'd be drinks, so you brought your
Should we show them?
Boven.
Should we
this
show
is the
them?
best. I can't believe, I'm so honored that you opened this for me in front of me. Okay.
Yes, we have a very special bottle here.
It says, to the best doctor in this bitch, which is very appropriate.
Well, also in this room, there's only 3 people, and only one of them is a doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Actual and factual. If we're gonna stick to the facts, that's right. So, Dr. B, I told you a while back that, okay, hey, I have these like huge boobs that I got when I was so young. Actually had 3 different surgeries because of complications I've had with breast implants. And I know that's one of your many specialties. But when I got the TV gig is when I actually like started looking at myself, I guess, more every day. And I'm like, dang, my boobs are taking up a lot of the space in my life. And I mean, they're like distractingly big in a lot of these camera shots. So I'm like, I think they make me look bigger now. And I'm just to this point where the Pamela Anderson era is out, which is when I decided that it would be okay to even get an implant this large. And the natural look, I feel like, is in. And I want to do a boob swap. Want to do a boob swap. And I said, what do you think? And then we kind of had this conversation starting with the consultation, right?
I've always supported you in getting the swap for the implants that are smaller. I think you're beautiful, whether you have big boobs, small boobs, no boobs. You're a wonderful person from the inside and out. But yes, I did notice that you have fuller breasts. And so we have very similar stories, right? Like we both got implants when we were very young, right? 18 and 19. We were pretty naive.
Very naive.
And so, I mean, it's interesting to hear your story, because it is very similar to mine, that we both had male plastic surgeons, and we both didn't know what implants we had in our body, what size we had in our body. And fortunately for me, I didn't have any issues, but you had some that popped up, right?
Absolutely. So within a year of getting breast implants, which I got to tell you, when you're young and you were flat chested your whole life,
you'll do anything.
You wake up and you think you're, and I kind of talked about this earlier with some of my news friends. It's like, you kind of think like, I will be so much better when I do this. I just need this. And that already formed, like, that train of thought, that thinking was so incorrect. Like, you're a badass, we're badasses, like, no matter what, right?
With tits or not. However,
if there was that option, it was like, oh my gosh, I wanted boobs. I'm like, what would that actually be like?
Who paid for your tits?
I actually got when I turned 18, I got a little bit of funds from this trust from my biological dad. And my mom goes, do you want a car? She's like, do you want to like get a car? And I was like, no, I want boobs. And she was like, come on. She was like, be sensible, be reasonable. And I was like, it's my money. I'm 18. I'm a grown up.
And now that I know your mom, I totally see her saying that.
So I went and I got it. And let me tell you, you wake up and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to run the world. Look at my boobs. Look, I have a chest now. Amazing. And you think that's it. Well, for me, within a year of getting that first implant, I was playing volleyball, Texas A&M Corpus. I remember I was in the field house and we were like having this hardcore volleyball competitive match, which is what I do. I love to play sports. I was hitting the floor, diving for stuff. And I go back to my dorm room and I remember getting ready for my shower. I took off my sports bra and I felt like a whoosh of water. And I said, OMG, I think
You
I
had a rupture.
Yeah, a rupture.
It's unusual that it happened that soon.
It's wild.
1 year is pretty quick, but you were able to get another implant back quickly, right?
Right. So I drove to San Antonio, which is where I got the first one done. And I wish I could remember the doctor's name right now. It was a male doctor, and he was just cranking these things out.
Mm-hmm.
He was just, everyone was getting implants at that time. And so I went, I told him, I said, I'm on my way. I literally drove with my Biggie Smalls situation going over there. And I went with a friend because I needed someone to like watch me and drive me. But that very next day I was already back. And so it was, and think about this, I'm 19. They really just did a really quick, like a refill basically. And then I was on my way. And of course I needed to take it easy for the next couple of weeks, but I was so young. I felt like, okay, boom, back.
$1 million. But were you happy?
I mean, I was, I was satisfied. I was like, okay, cool. I have boobs. Like this is awesome. And they were little, maybe
little chiclets.
Yeah, maybe like a 350 implant, maybe a little bit bigger than this. But then about, I want to say about 4 or 5 years later, fast forward, I had left school. I went to play lingerie football in LA.
You would.
I had this whole like life, right? Like that I created for myself. And I'd met this guy while I was in Australia playing lingerie football who was Australian. And I was like, oh my God, that's the love of my life. Okay, this is like it, young, naive. I come back to the States, we're talking. And he's like, you need to come over here and like watch me. He was a basketball player at the time. And so I was like, okay, let me go over there and we'll like start our love story, together. And so initially you have to get a 3-month visa because it's just a visiting visa. So I go over there and literally the second day I get there, I'm planning to stay there for 3 months and to see if like this whole thing with him, if it's like real with us.
Yeah.
I ruptured. I was doing CrossFit and I was doing up downs. And I remember doing up downs and slamming, a bunch of things.
Another boob out for the count.
Same thing. I went to the restroom and I was like, oh no, it's like happening again. It was a nightmare. I didn't have travel insurance. I told him, he's like, doesn't know what to do. And so I just found a local plastic surgeon there. And I will say out of the kindness of that man's heart, he was a doctor from the United States. His receptionist, Sasha, it was like Bundaberg Plastic Surgery, shout out. He said, I'll do it. He's like, but you kind of have to let me decide like what the boobs are. And he says, you have a big chest plate. I think you can handle like a bigger implant. And boom, these Australian puppies went in.
It was also a different time,
It
right?
was a
like,
different
this is
time. And it was like bigger is better. Okay, sure. Why not?
You're from Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas.
That's right. I would tease my hair to the moon
for you.
Absolutely. And for a while, I was really, really happy with them. I was skinny. I was like,
what do you mean you were skinny?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like I'm big now. I feel like I'm pretty tiny now, especially after all the help you've given me. But shout out. But they're absurdly big, right? And it was like the style and it was fine. And, I bartended and I worked and I've had this big personality. People that meet me, they think my boobs are real. They're like, oh my gosh, we just assumed like big personality, big boobs. It all matches, Yeah. And now I'm like, oh my God, my back hurts. My back hurts. My neck hurts.
You also had it done in a different time, in a different country, and things have changed.
Yeah.
In the last few years, we've seen a big shift, right? From that bigger is better mentality to like a more natural fitting result.
Right.
People are swapping out their bigger implants for smaller, more appropriate size implants for their body, something they could dress up when they want to go out and put their boobs together, or something they could put on a sports bra and CrossFit with.
Yeah.
Like something that's durable.
Yeah.
And timeless.
For me, I in a perfect world, and I'm not kidding, in a perfect world, I could take these out and then just like be, okay, there's nothing foreign in my body. But I'm like, no, this vain part of me that's like on TV, I'm like, no, give me something that looks natural, that looks good. Yeah. Like you said, that I have the option to feel sexy when I want. And then like, but still be able to have a more athletic build, which is what I think I have naturally anyway. Yeah. Like who's to say now?
But also too, based on our discussions, like the implants that they were using and are still using in Australia are different than what we're using in the United States, right?
So you pulled my implant card. What did you learn about my implants?
Yeah, so what I learned is that you have 700cc silicone implants with a textured shell.
Okay.
And so what's different about textured implants versus what we're using now of the smooth is that these are associated with slightly higher risks of a certain type of breast cancer called ALCL. Now, we're talking like very rare, like 1 out of 20 to 50,000 people.
Wow.
However, in my practice, in my patients, I don't want the risk.
Yeah.
So I don't use textured implants. So you told me that you want me to pick what's the right style and size and shape and texture for you. I said, no textured implant.
Right.
I mean, and that's what I would do for myself and my family members as well. I think, in 2024, we have hundreds of different styles of implants now.
Wow.
So in my practice, and for you, what I'm going to fit for you is actually something that's probably very close to this.
Wow.
Okay. So this
is 320.
Yeah. So we're talking like 350 range for
Okay.
you, something that's wider,
Yeah.
but not so projecting that it's
Right.
going to look like a torpedo, like your boobs are coming into the door before you enter in.
Like a fembot.
Yeah. So that you've got options, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a natural shape. You
Yeah.
can dress them up, you can dress them down. You've got options.
Of course, aesthetically, I want them to look amazing, but like some of the relief I feel like I'm gonna have from carrying around 700 cc's on each one. Hindsight 2020 with this. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, but when you're young, you're naive, and you don't know what you don't know, and that's why it helps to have a plastic surgeon that you can relate to, that you can trust, that's going to give you honest feedback. So, like, if you come to me and say, like, I want to be just 650, I'm going to tell you that's not going to fit your body.
Yeah.
Right? Like, maybe I'm not the right surgeon for you.
I've always told people, about your honesty that I appreciate, and you are just so candid. And the fact that you're a woman, you understand, you get it, because
I have them too. I have these implants too.
And any situation, you're not only thinking about that, but you're thinking about, like, how busy my days are, what I have to do, and you're like, okay, you have to get this amount of protein. You're going to be able to sit there, but no exercise. Like,
No, you have to do the work. And I'm going to counsel you on that, because if I don't prepare you, then you're not going to have the best result.
Right.
So, we talked before about, like, medications that people are on, right? Like, I have a lot of patients that are using Ozempic.
Or semaglutide.
Right? Semaglutide to lose weight.
Absolutely.
And so,
which I have been on. Which is
a great medicine, right? It's helping people, lose the weight, lower their risk factors, blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. This is a great medicine. However, it definitely plays into effect when you're preparing for surgery.
So I have to be off of that for at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So I've been off. I've taken the month off, and I'm like, my appetite is back with a vengeance.
Yes.
And I'm like, how quickly can I get back on the semaglutide?
So it depends on the surgery that you have. So for this surgery, which is, I would say, like a smaller surgery, 2 weeks, right?
Okay.
But for a bigger surgery, like a 360 lipo or a tummy tuck, you're looking at 4 to 6 weeks, because I need you to eat protein afterwards.
Right.
And so, like, I need you to feel hunger.
Yeah.
You have to feed your body.
Right. If you want it to repair.
If you want it to heal.
Right.
I don't want you to have any problems.
Yes.
Right? We want to get you back on track, back on TV.
Yes.
Which I love. The praises.
Which I love. And this is something that's truly, like, we have so many amazing guests. Sometimes I feel like my boobs are the elephant in the room. Like, especially if I'm wearing, like, a white shirt and I've got nipple covers on. Like, I'm trying to, like, hide these bad boys. Like, I'm never trying to have them, like, and that's the other thing. I feel like my posture has suffered, because I'm always, like, trying to go inward here. Because I don't want, it's not about, because it's like not the boob show. It's like, there's a show where people are doing great things for the community, and, like, please, like, I don't, like, it's just uncomfortable.
So that is about 700 cc's. That's heavy.
That's
about
each.
700 cc's. Imagine, like, 2 of those on your chest.
Boom,
it's
boom.
pulling your shoulders down.
Yeah.
And so it's not insignificant. You know, a bigger implant is heavier and more weight on your shoulder girdle. It is what it is, you know? And like I said, I think you're beautiful the way you are. But aesthetically, I think you could show your shape
absolutely
a lot better if you had smaller breasts. It takes away from, like, your great figure,
the curvature that you've helped me achieve.
Yeah, you have a great figure,
which we've talked about. I don't know. I just try to be honest with people when they go, "Oh my God, you have a tiny little waist." I go, "Oh, I've had lipo." Yeah. Oh, I've had, like,
like, raise your hand if you've had lipo.
They go, "Oh yeah," and they're like, oh my gosh, you look so young. I'm like, yeah, I like religiously do Botox, and like I just feel like it takes a village. Like I've worked with your med spa before, I've worked with your plastic surgery team, and these are decisions I'm making now as a woman, and I feel like they're just so much more informed. And I know you personally just care so much about your patients being you, like you told me, like of course, like you would be a walking billboard. Like you're a walking billboard for my work. Like it's an art. Your plastic surgery is a form of art that you've studied really hard at the top of her class, by the way. Shout out.
Okay.
Yes, we'll drink to that. Take a sip. This episode of TessTalks is brought to you by Barrera Law. I always say you need someone to handle your money. Like you need a good accountant, and then you need a good lawyer. So if you want a lawyer where you are going to be more than just a case number, your family attorney, why not try Barrera Law? If you go to jbarreralaw.com, you will see this is the attorney that I've been working with for many years now. And Jay Barrera, yes, no relation, but my brother does actually manage the law office there. And I always tell the story of how when I got into a car accident the night before my interview with Rod Ryan's show, I had to call them. They got me in a rental car. I had to book it to here to Houston to get to my interview. And I will forever, forever be grateful for them. So jbarreralaw.com. And I don't know their number by memory, but I do have it saved. So if you want to put this in your phone to help you, 713-295-1182. And that's Jay Barrera Law. Ask for Jose, ask for George, or just tell them Tessa sent me. Say, Tessa's crazy ass said you could help me. And if they don't help you, tell me, because that's not going to happen. If you need to restock your cabinet, like we're going to have to after this podcast, go to specsonline.com. You can order same-day delivery. You can pop into the San Felipe Fountain View location. That's the one close to me. They have C's Candies there. I crave those. And then you have the flagship store, downtown Smith Street, I guess more midtown. Dogs are welcome there. So specsonline.com. You can do same-day delivery. The fun starts here. Let it sink in.
But I mean, my goal is really to be your guide, right? Like I'm not telling you what surgery to have, what implant to pick. Like I'm going to help guide you to like a range of implants that will give you a good, safe result with longevity. Right. The last thing you want is to put a big implant in your body, and you've actually been quite fortunate that you haven't had any issues.
Right.
But you put an implant that's too big for your frame, you get stretching of your soft tissue, you get thinning of your breast tissue, you get bottoming out. It's called malposition. So the implant falls into your like tummy, or when you lay down, the implants fall into your armpit. It's not a good look, right? And so the bigger implants put you at higher risk for those problems.
Wow.
Now you just happen to have really great tissue, and so you don't have any of those issues. Actually, it's more just about shape and size goals for you.
So I am being completely honest. You know, I am a little bit nervous. I think everyone, you know, maybe before they're having a procedure done, it's like, okay, you're going under anesthesia. Like it's a little daunting. But your plan, once we get in there for like the boobs, is just to really, I mean, I already have a scar here. You're going to reopen that and pull these out and then really figure out what looks good. And you're going to have a couple of options and really figure out what you think like is most aesthetically pleasing.
So I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Listen up. I'll be listening.
First, I'm going to mark you. Okay. Then I'm going to have a go have a morning cocktail.
Stop.
I'm just kidding. Wait till afterwards. I'm kidding. I'm going to go through your old incision, which is about 4 centimeters, so I shouldn't have to elongate that at all. I'm going to pop your old implant out. And the thing about these textured implants, the body grows into them quite well. And the reason that they actually invented textured implants is for your body to use them as almost like a Velcro.
Okay.
And so it doesn't move, which is probably why you don't have malposition.
Okay.
It's good. Unfortunately, it just puts you at higher risk for those issues that we talked about.
Right.
So, you know, it will probably be a little bit adherent, but it'll come out. I mean,
if tissue will be all over it though.
I'll save it for you. If you want, we can auction it off.
Let's do it. Anything for the kids.
Then we're going to look at the pocket, make sure it looks okay. I mean, I'm sure it's going to look just great, right?
Okay.
If there's anything I'm concerned about, obviously we're going to take care of it right then. You know, the biggest risk you would have with someone with textured implants is you would see something concerning for like breast cancer.
Right.
If that's the case, like you would obviously abort the case and we would send the tissue for analysis. The chance of that happening is so low, right?
Okay.
But I'm prepared for like an extreme situation to handle that for you.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. Okay, we're going to look at the pocket. We're going to tighten it.
Okay.
Okay. The pocket's going to be bigger because the implant that you have is wide and very projecting.
Right.
But the implant that we're going to put in is more narrow and less projecting.
Okay.
Right. So instead of having like a bag around your implant, we want it to be like a hand in glove.
How do you tighten a pocket?
Okay. So
Do you do that with a laser?
I burn it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I actually use an electrocautery and I just cause tiny little burns.
Wow.
And I call it popcorn capsulorrhaphy.
Okay.
Popcorn, because it sounds like popcorn popping.
Okay.
And it actually shrinks the pocket really nicely. It's very interesting. Probably what I'll do is when I take out the implants, I'll do a popcorn on one side, put an implant in, and not the other, so then you can see the difference.
Okay.
This implant will sit up and it will fall to the side on the other side.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
And then once we get the pocket tightened, I'll put a sizer in, which is not a non-permanent implant that is the same size, so we can use it in surgery to size the pocket. We'll sit you up and we'll look and we'll see, is this the right implant for you? I usually bring a size above and a size below. For you, I'm probably bringing like 5 sizes because I don't know what's going on in that pocket. But we'll find the right size for you.
Okay.
And I know your goals. We've talked about goals. I have your pictures there in front of me. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at your asymmetry. I'll probably release a little bit of your muscle so I can help
What's
kind of
interesting
round out.
about these implants, you kind of told me during the consultation, you were like, do you notice how this one's not like completely round? And it was just something I had kind of dealt with. Like, it's just, I mean, I was just happy to have them both in and inflated and like whatever. But yeah, there was like a little bit of dysymmetry going on, which I think every woman has naturally. One bigger, one smaller, whatever. But like, if you're going to go under, like you do want them to be symmetrical and round and nice, right? And so
I think it.
So don't forget to do that, please. Thank you.
I think it's because you're so fit, your muscle is so strong. It's just not letting it round out. But I don't know. I mean, when you do revision surgery, it's almost like discovery mode a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. And you're like, I mean, where does that confidence come from that you can just go in and be like, oh, I'll just do this? Because you kind of have to problem solve.
Yeah, you have to be prepared for sure.
And it's like, it's not one of these problems that's like, okay, we have time, let it marinate. Like someone is right there. And it's tick, tick. Girl, you crazy.
Well,
girl, I like you. I like you, but you are crazy.
I'll definitely have my Wheaties in the morning.
Okay, please. Yeah, skip the cocktail. No mimosas.
Fine, I'll just wait till afterwards. No big deal. But yeah, once we find the right size, we'll pop it in, close the incision, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
And then, you'll have some restrictions for probably about 2 weeks, and then I'll let you free.
Okay, I'm going to listen. I'm going to be a good little girl.
Yeah, we don't want anything to happen like last time.
I wasn't eating enough protein last time, and Dr. Bartlett had to drain my belly, and it was gross.
How much fluid?
It was like a bucket of fluid, and my sister ratted on me.
It was
she
this
totally
much,
narked.
it was this
my
much
sister
fluid.
narked on me. She was like, "Have you been eating enough protein?" I was like, "Yeah." And my sister was like, "No."
She's in the background shaking her head, and I was like, "You're such a liar." That was just when we were like starting our friendship too. I was like.
But I didn't realize the importance of protein in that. I mean, protein is important for everyone, but like when you're trying to heal, I'm just going to like stock my fridge full of those Premier proteins and call it.
Because remember, I mean, you need the building blocks to heal. So normally you need like 1 gram per kilogram of your body weight just to like live, right? So like that's probably like, let's just say 70 grams of protein daily, which honestly, I probably don't get. But when you're healing from surgery, you need about 50% more. Right. So we're talking like 100 grams.
Right.
I don't know if I'm not good at math, but like carry the 1 or whatever. But like shoot for 100. And it's tough. It's just hard to get that with just food alone.
Right.
Like you need some sort of supplement, like the Premier Protein shakes, whatever.
Yeah.
But as you could tell before, right? Like once you got your protein in check, everything cleaned up nicely.
Healing was a lot easier.
The swelling went away. I mean, the fluid went down and you felt better.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be no different this time.
So how long the downtime for this surgery? I am going back to work on Monday. We're having the surgery on Wednesday. But I'm going to sleep. I'm not going to leave that bed.
No, I want you to get up. I want you to walk around.
I'm scared.
I don't want you to be acting like a sick person. Like I want you to move.
Okay.
But I just don't want you to overdo it.
Okay.
And so for the first 2 weeks, I just want you to be thinking like T-Rex arms.
Okay.
And so elbows below the shoulder, and
Okay.
that just prevents a bunch of movement or fluid from building up.
Okay.
After 2 weeks, I'll advance you.
Okay.
I'll even let you get back to exercising.
Thank you. You know that's my therapy.
Yes.
That
So
is my therapy.
I think this recovery will be a lot easier
Okay.
for you compared to the last one. Also because you're kind of a pro now, you
Yeah,
know? Like
I know.
you know what to expect.
I know how to surgery.
And we've had the podcasts to prepare for the surgery.
Okay. Okay. I feel like this was a good prep for me. This was like a good, like, sit down. You're actually doing this. My life goes so fast.
I was actually going to have her sign her consents today. Like I have them in my bag.
This is how busy I am. Like, yes. Okay. Let me have my final consultation with my doctor. But can we please make a podcast out of it? Thank you. Okay. Is there anything else that we should know, talk about, brag about?
I think we got it. I'm looking forward to your surgery.
I feel like since we're going under anyway, maybe we do a little, like, I don't know, maybe a little lipo or
We'll
something.
see. We'll
Yes.
talk.
Well, I want to look my best. And now that I'm a grown-ass woman who can make these decisions and have a female doctor consult me, I just feel like I'm ahead of the curve here now.
I want you to look good, feel good, right? But if you walk around looking like a crazy person, it doesn't look good for you. It doesn't look good for me.
Yeah.
So we want to all be on the same page here.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming. You are the best doctor in this bitch, like certifiable. And yeah. Okay. This is that. I hope you like this test talk. Listen, I don't have a ton of time to do them, but if I see that there's enough views and enough traction on this, then obviously we'll make time to do it more. And I just realized we have this room at my apartment. This is very nice. This is a nice skyline lounge. We have a great view. The lighting is great for us. So
should we cheer?
Yeah, we should do it again.
My
Look. Oh, yeah, my
God.
last sip. Oh my God. We're too comfortable. We're too comfortable with each other. Thank you.
Cheers.
Salud.